Hello there, Chris here from Becker's Models, and this is a follow-up to the review I did on I Love Kit's Easy 8 Early Sherman, so called. And I'll do a second follow-up video on addressing the accuracy problems with this kit for those of you who are very concerned about getting the details correct, and I'm sometimes with you on that, sometimes I'm not. It's depending on what you want out of a build. What I want out of a build is buildability, and that is something that will go together without much fuss. And maybe I chose the wrong kit for this, because in this video I'm going to explain, I'm going to show you how to build the tracks for this kit. Now, the Andy Hobby Headquarters equivalent Easy 8, and we shouldn't really call it an Easy 8, it's supposed to be called, let me see if I can remember, an M4A3E8 wet, HVSS, something like that. And you thought the German Panzer names were long and convoluted. The Americans can do the same. So this one, just to quickly put the rivet counting hat on, this one has T-80 style tracks. I'll put a picture of an original one up there to show you. And they were a steel chevron rubber backed type track with two pins and a hook that went through the middle to go around the idler wheel. The Andy Hobby Headquarters Sherman has T66 tracks, which were more of a sort of a slatted sort of more simpler type of track. Now, the T80 style was really only brought in 1945, from about January onwards. It was seen in the European theatre, and they were used almost all the time during the Korean War, when the Canadians and the Americans pulled out their old Easy 8s and used those to fight the whatevers. Now, the T66, however, was used earlier in the war, and this is where there's confusion between the two kits. And in fact, I know there's a few commenters and a few watchers on the channel who said they're going to buy both kits and they're going to swap bits around, because the problem with this I Love kit is it actually has an early turret but late tracks. And I think the Andy one has the early tracks and the late turret. I'm not sure about the Andy one at all yet, the tack-on one, but this video is going to be about putting these tracks together. Now, if you looked at the box art that they say on this kit, it's got 2,200 parts, 2,200 parts. A lot of people are expecting a full interior of that part number, but actually what it is, it's mainly this. This is the number of parts required for one track. One. There's 158, I think, tracks, 79 per side to make. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 pieces per track. That's 1,590 pieces. So that leaves you with what, 620 pieces for the rest of the whole tank? So yeah, here's the problem. There's lots of pieces going on. The Andy Hobby Headquarters, I think, has got 3, and much simpler because it's the T66 slatted style instead of this one where you've got these chevrons that are encased over these pads, and they're connected to these pins and so forth. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you how I Love Kit wants you to put it together, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to actually build. I might use this black piece of plastic, might be a bit too shiny, but it's the right size for exactly what I want to do. I'm going to make a jig. I'm actually going to create a buildable platform here to actually assemble the tracks a lot easier than the way I Love Kit really wants you to do it. I've had a few trial runs. I've been putting together some of these parts, and so what I'll do first is I'll just give you a quick overview of the sprue, because there's 9 of them, and to show you how to cut these pieces off for the minimal cleanup. So let's do that first. If you're going to tackle this kit, get used to seeing this sprue quite often. There's 9 of these, and I've just completed taking off all the parts on one of these sprues in just under an hour, and that includes cleaning them up. Now, there's a trick to it. I just want you to get familiar with the parts first. These small parts on the outside, okay, that have only one sprue connection point, there the pin holders go on the outside of the track, one on each side. And that's a very, very easy cut with even just my old, well, they're not dodgy, but they're just a workman-like, my SMS sprue cutters. I really love these, they just do the job. One cut, one swipe with a sanding stick. That's just a medium. If you want to go for a bit more power, you can go for a heavy one, and they're off. The way I do it, it's very simple. I've got a little container here, and I just put I'll do it the right way around because I'm right-handed. Okay, I just place it over the top, get my sprue cutter, get in there nice and tight, and not at the jaws, the tip, but actually at the back of the sprue cutter, and just nip it off like that. Okay, and that's very minimal cleanup. But let's move on to the next part, and that's the surrounding on the outside. Doesn't take any time to do at all. You've now got these clear rubber chevrons, the pairs. There's 2 of these on each track. Again, go up and down and just choose. And you can tell that what they are because they have a female peg there, and they've got a raised attachment point there, which is great because that actually helps with cleanup. Now you may want to, if you wanted, you could go in sideways and cut like this. Okay, first, and then cut like that, second, and actually I've just discovered that that's a better way of doing it than the way I've been doing it for my last one. Yeah, that did a pretty good job. So there you go, do it that way. So come in sideways and just cut the sprues like that. Okay, I'll just do this one to show you how hard the cleanup is. Now this is important. You might think this is a bit sort of, oh, what are we going on about, Chris? But okay, we'll just zoom in here. All you need to do, I have my lovely Fiskars knife. It's really ergonomic, and just one scrape of the knife, one scrape of the knife, done. I put it in. I've got a little box there with all the different parts. So yeah, there you go. I just discovered that on the fly. That's an easy way to do it. Undercut it and take advantage of it. Do the same with these ones. These are the ones with the male pegs. So they'll flip this over again. These are the chevrons. Now don't worry about getting these mixed up. Where's my little container with them all? Okay, here's the container. You can't get them mixed up. They they only go one way. So they have to go this way. Can you see the chevron? All right, you can't do it like that. Okay, it's upside down. There it goes. So it's all good. The one that's the trickiest, however, so this is the one we need to talk about, is the guide horn thingy. I don't know the official name for it. Call me out in the comments if it's wrong. Now, the parts for the upper part of the guide horn, which has a hole in it, you could do that trick where you could undercut there like this, or you could just come into the side and do that, okay, and then clean it up. The problem is with the lower connectors, they give, they've slide molded it. See how they've done on the side there? They've got these reliefs here to do this. These require more cleanup. What you have to do basically is come along, and don't worry, you're not going to lose any detail, and you need to hit it at the part that's opposite where there's a raised bolt and a bolt screw. And then what I do is I just come in to the side, and I might just zoom in here. Come into the side, and I don't go flush. Okay, I go away from the part itself. And you see how you got this nice big nub there. So you go in sideways with your clippers. It's gone. Okay, so that's usually done. What's interesting with this part, and I'll just show you the 3D printed part that you only get in the detail upset. If you're getting the base model I Love kit, it's a lot cheaper. Yeah, this is one piece. The 3D printed part's one piece, and it doesn't require gluing. I was a bit afraid I have to glue that on, but it actually slides on these pins, and I'll show you how this goes together in a minute. So with the styrene ones, however, you have to glue them together. So you need to glue this piece onto here, and there is a small location. There's 2 little pins, and they're tiny. They're a bee's dick basically. They're not there at all, and it kind of fits, kind of doesn't, and yeah, it's a bit of a pain. I would actually recommend, and I'll show you a bit later, not to glue these together until you're almost finished, because it helps with the assembly. So that's the method I'm using to get them off the sprue. And as banal and silly as it is to explain that, it does. I'm trying to make it so it's easier for you to get through this. I reckon if you have put Lord of the Rings on, the extended version, well, not even just the theatrical. Why would you watch a theatrical? It makes no sense. Watch the extended version, and you'd have this all cleaned up and ready by the time it's finished. So let's move on to how to actually assemble these according to the instructions, but then I'm going to switch to how I'm going to do it. Each sprue of the 9 includes one of these track assembly jigs. Now you use this to make one of these. So this is a completed double pin setup with the guide horn thing in the middle. That one's been glued on just for reference, and as you can see, it's a free fit. It doesn't actually get glued in, and in fact there's no glue used at all here. This is a press fit, and I'll show you how I do it. So you get one of these centerpiece pieces, one with the exposed bolt head, and you simply go upside down, Miss Jane. You put it in like that. Don't use any glue. You grab a couple of pins, put them through like that, and what I do just to make this easier is go vertical, hold on to it, grab one of the end connectors, and the way you have to do that is that bolt has to be pointing that way, and we just place it on like so, turn it around. Don't get too ahead of yourself here and push it in too hard, because you need a bit of room. Do the other side. Okay, and then when you got the other side, put these in between your finger and thumb and just give it a good old squeeze. Okay, and did that go in? Yep. That's that. Oh, I twisted it a little bit. Okay, there we go. That's a bit better. That's it. So that does your main assembly. Now you could, if you wanted to, and I may just eventually do that, just for a bit of what's the word I'm looking for? Comfort. I might run a tiniest dab of super glue down the end there. But so far these have been pressure fits, and I've made quite a few of these because I want to set up the jig next. Okay. Just the only problem here with this is when you do this, don't press down on that bolt, even though you're not really going to see it when the tracks are finished. You might squish that bolt a little bit. This is where these 3D printed version ones are a little bit better in this respect, because it's protected. Track assembly. How do you actually get these bloody things together? Excuse my French, but there's 1,600 pieces to go. So what I Love Kit would have you do is to assemble the track pins with their guide horn in the middle and the end connectors there, and then turn it upside down, right, and put the blank ones on top, these blank pieces on top. Then they want you to turn it over without losing it, and remember you have to do at least 2 of these at once. Then put the chevrons underneath. Now I don't know how that's going to work, and I don't think it's going to work well at all, so I'll show you what I'm doing instead. So I've created a little jig here out of this piece of plastic, bit of 4mm by 2mm or 4mm something or other, stock styrene, which I've glued to make rails, and here I've got just some flat pieces so I can slide them up and down and keep these parts true. All I've done is I've put the actual chevrons, okay, underneath, and I've marked just to make it easier so I know which one's which with just a little bit of black pen there, which you'll never see. I've marked these ones to go on the lower, and the other ones I'll just left blank. Now remember what I said, doesn't matter which way you put these, upside down, they'll go, so it doesn't matter which way, as long as you get them, these ones at the top, these ones at the bottom, it's fine. Now the trick is, of course, and this I've tried this about 6 times now, and a couple of times on video, but it is tricky to get this in place because it just wants to jump around. Okay, see that? Just wants to jump around. So get a pair of tweezers, and the first one, just to set up, will take a little bit of time. So all I want to do here is set that up, get that in, and I think this one is a little bit twisted. It is a little bit twisted. I might try a different one that I haven't buggered up. So I'll just put that in there, and yeah, just the first one is a little tricky. These things go awry everywhere, so bear with me. I might even need to fast forward here. Alright, I've got that first one in, and that's the trickiest one to get started. The next, what we want to do is just add the next track pins, and that's a little bit easier, famous last words, to get under without stuffing everything up. Okay, and now you can finally put some tracks on. So let's just zoom in a little bit more, and I'll show you. So what I want to do is get my Tamiya extra thin, and I just want to hit these center ones, the posts. Okay. get my blank chevrons, and these will snap in if everything holds properly like that. It's okay if everything else jumps around, that's fine. And of course I've touched the peg with a bit of glue, so I need a bit more. Maybe I'll put some on the other side. Maybe that's an easier way to do it. Put it on the other side of the chevron. Now it's a lot easier from this way because I find that if you just slip it in. Yeah, this is going to take a while, isn't it, boys and girls? Like I said, easier off camera. It does fit in, there we go. Just my sausage fingers. Now, the great thing about this is the fit is really, really good. That's a snap fit, okay? It's no problem at all. This keeps it all workable. See how it's moving up and down. Let's get these next chevrons in. That's in, sounds like Stargate. Chevrons locked. Get the next one going. That should just plonk in there, like that. If you can think of a better way to do this, I'm all ears. So far, I'm impressed with the kit's quality, but not with its accuracy. I'm going through some dramas trying to work out, and I will spin off a different video to explain to you why you should probably never buy this kit, and why I've probably made a big mistake. Alright, so they're in. Let's do this again. Bit of glue on there, and this is why I think it's easier to do this way instead of doing it the way Mr. Merritt. See, there you go. I should not put snap. You hear that big snap? That's bloody in. And the next one. Now you can, once I take this out, I will show you, you can actually glue the sides on as well, just to keep this all in without affecting. There we go, done. So I'll just pull that out, and you've got workable tracks. So all I need to do is just run the glue on there, easy peasy. So what I recommend is to do a run of about 5. Okay, I've only just done 2 here. So there you go. Chevron's locked. Okay, nicely done. Nice and workable, no problem at all. What I would recommend is you make a run of about 5 and then put them aside. And then do another run and then do another run and then put the lots of 5 together in this jig and put them together. So it's going to take a while to put this together, but anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that video. I hope it's helped on how you can put these T-80 tracks together. I'm hoping maybe I can get someone out there who wants to buy this to put on their Andy's Hobby Headquarter Easy 8, because it's more fitting towards that. But anyway, I'm going to go here and have a big stiff drink. Well, actually a strong coffee, since I don't drink anymore, unfortunately. And I'll see you at the next one. Cheers.